Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and on today's video I'm going to show you how to create the best Windows 11 installer that you can do currently as of the recording date, which is towards the end of April 2026. Now in today's video we're going to be using the new Rufus Beta, which actually includes some really cool features. So if you want to install Windows 11 with very cut down bloat, and also avoid things such as the Microsoft account and not installing OneDrive, Teams, Outlook, etc, then this is probably going to be the video for you. Now this video is going to be a little bit longer than usual because there are quite a few steps which I want to explain in some depth so you understand them completely before you go ahead and do it, and to minimize any problems further down the road. So with all that said, let's head over to the computer and take a closer look. Okay, so we're on our Windows desktop here, and I'll put some links for this in the video description for the bits and pieces you're going to need. So one thing you're going to need is the Windows 11 official ISO. Now that's really easy to do. Go to Microsoft.com, download section, and you can see here you can choose to create installation media, or you can download the Windows disk image, or ISO as it's otherwise known. So in order to do that, click on Windows 11 Multi-Edition ISO for x64 devices, and then click on Download Now. At this point, you can choose a language. Now, I'm in the UK, so I'm going to choose English International. Choose whichever language is suitable for you. And when you're ready, click on Confirm. And then you can click on this button here for the 64-bit download. Download it to a suitable place, either your downloads folder or to your Windows desktop. You only need this file while we're creating the actual image. After we've done it, you can delete it. It's quite a sizable download. It may take a little while, so we'll go on past that and head over into Rufus. So in order to get Rufus up and going, so we go to rufus.ie, and it'll go to the appropriate region for you. And what we're going to want to do is to go down to the latest beta version here. So click on the beta and save it somewhere appropriate. So I'm going to save this to our Windows desktop, so it's nice and easy for me to find, and click on save. That downloads very quickly, so we can close all these windows now. We don't need those anymore. So we've got our ISO on the desktop, so it's almost 8 gigs in size, and also we've got our Rufus. So double click Rufus and you'll get the user account control come up, so click on yes. And then we've got our drive properties. So we've got a USB drive already plugged in, which is a 32GB version. Anything over 8 gigs should be fine. 16's great. Pretty much whatever you want to do. Choice is entirely up to you. Now the next part is to actually get our image. So if we click on select and go back to our Windows desktop, and we'll choose our ISO, which we downloaded a little bit earlier on, and we'll choose open. Now at this point, there's various options you can choose from. So if you're using a modern system, which hopefully you will be, you can leave the partitions scheme as GPT. That is the modern version. If you're trying to do this on a very old system, you could try using MBR, but for most people, GPT is going to be fine. Also, for your target system, if you're using GPT, you'll be using UEFI. If you're using older hardware, which may be out of date, then you may want to change that, but in this instance you can't. If you've got GPT, you'll have to have MBR, and then you can have BIOS or UEFI. So again, I would strongly suggest using GPT for modern, fresh installs. Now for the format options, so here we've got the various options we've got available. You can rename this if you want to, so we call this Windows 11 Super, and we'll leave that as it is. Everything else you can leave as it is, and yeah, that is pretty much it. So next you can click on Start, and this is when the fun begins. So this is your Windows user experience. So these are the things you can actually change to make your system more flexible, or to bypass certain restrictions for Windows and make quality of life changes. So let's assume that all of these are unchecked to begin with, and we'll go through each one. So the first one is to remove the requirement for more than 4 gigs of RAM, and to remove secure boot and TPM support. Now realistically, most people with modern systems, I think you really do want to have all of these installed, but if you're using an older system or you have less than 4 gigabytes of RAM, then obviously you do want to put a tick in that box there. Our system's modern, so we don't need to do that. Next one, we've got the option for remove the requirement for an online Microsoft account. Yep, I think that is going to be pretty appropriate. Now you can, if you want to, after you've installed this, you can actually add an online Microsoft account at a later date, should you wish to, but it doesn't mean that you have to use one when you first boot up the system, so that's great. Also, we've got the choice, so you can actually have a local account already ready and waiting for you when the system is done. So we can just call this local and put a tick box there. So that means that there is going to be already a local account created with that username. Obviously, if you want to call it something else, you can do, such as Mike, for instance, or whatever you want to do. If you're using this for multiple installs on lots of PCs, if you're a PC flipper, then you might just want to call it user or something. Again, that choice is entirely up to you. The next one is to set the regional options to the same as the values as this user. So what is on this system you're using now. Now you will find, as we go down here to the silently install section, that will be grayed out unless you tick this box, and also the disable data collection, the privacy questions. So that is for the silently install, which we'll talk about a little bit more. So regional options I would set as being the same as the users, and we've got the disabled data collection setup. So skip the privacy questions, you know, when you're starting at Windows, do you want to do this, do you want to do that, etc, etc. So this basically disables that section, so that's great. You've also got the option to disable BitLocker automatic device encryption. I would strongly suggest doing that unless you have a reason to have BitLocker installed on your devices. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. It's very much a flip of the coin whether or not it's going to be automatically added to your system. So I would say disable it. That way you can always add BitLocker support later, should you wish to. Now this is another cool part. This is the quality of life improvements. So basically it won't force Copilot installation. It will also stop OneDrive from installing. It will also remove Outlook, fast startup, and many others. So this is going to give you a much, much cleaner, debloated experience. So I would strongly suggest ticking that. Obviously, if you do want to use Copilot or OneDrive or Outlook later on, you can install those yourself manually later on. But this gives you the option of starting a clean, fresh slate. So this is the one which is going to be a little bit more of a personal choice. So this one here, silently erase disk and install. So we've got the option, so we can tick that, and then it will basically, as soon as you put this USB into a system and it boots from that USB, it will just go ahead, erase the disks and install Windows 11 or whichever version that you choose from this particular list. So these are all the ones which are available to us. So you can choose any of those. So if you wanted to do a different version, you can do Windows Home, Home single language, etc, etc. Now I'm going to leave this set to Windows 11 Pro, because effectively by doing what we've done here, it kind of almost turns it into the educational or LTSC versions anyway, or at least very, very similar. You get all of the benefits, but none of the drawbacks in terms of licensing, etc. So that is an option. So if you want it to be something that you can install on multiple PCs, say again, you're a system builder and you install hundreds of systems or tens of systems, you can do the silent install. So you can just put the drive in, let it boot up, it will install Windows and just get on and do everything without any user intervention. Now this is great, but there is also a potential security risk for this as well, in that if you do this with a system which has multiple drives installed, there is the potential that it could actually detect one of your other drives, which may or may not have data on it, as being the primary drive, in which case it's going to erase it without any user intervention. So do use this one with caution. I'm going to say no to it, but obviously if you want to, you can do, depending on your personal needs. And also I would suggest if you do create a USB stick with the silent install on, just put a little sticker or something on the drive just to say like warning, silent install, or something along those lines, or a danger sign, because potentially you could lose data. So do be aware of that. Now the next two are more for security minded persons. So the first one is to use the Windows CA 2023 signed bootloaders. So this I would strongly suggest turning on, because this will actually enforce the secure boot bootloaders. Now, if you're using a modern system which has a BIOS update within the last year or so, this will be absolutely fine. If for some reason you try to use this USB installer after ticking that box, if the system isn't ready for it, the BIOS is outdated, then it will come up with a secure boot validation error. So do be mindful of that. That will be one of the things to decide. Now, for me personally, I pretty much always install Windows on pretty modern hardware. It's very rare these days that I install it on anything more than a couple of years old. So for me personally, this is absolutely fine and will enforce the extra security of the secure boot signed bootloaders. So I would leave that on. Again, if you don't want to, if you want more flexibility, then leave it unchecked. The next one is to apply the SKU SI policy B7B on installation. So what this does is essentially it prevents rollback attacks. Now there has been a vulnerability using rollback attacks. So essentially someone could inject unsigned older files which weren't protected into the operating system, or even from bootloaders and things like that. So essentially you would say, yes, you do want this done. Now the downsides of this, if you do actually tick it, is the fact that you will be unable to roll back certain files. So say for instance you do a Windows update and something goes wrong and the update doesn't work particularly well for you, then you may find it impossible to roll back. Essentially what it's going to do is going to enforce kind of modern security. So once it's applied to the PC's UEFI, or the modern version of your BIOS, it will only allow safe updated files to load during startup. Now there is a knowledge base reference, so that's KB 2562. So if you want to find out more about that, I'll try and put links for that in the video description. But essentially, these last two are for basically strengthening the security of your system. Now again, if this is for new, modern, fresh builds, I would suggest enabling both of these. Certainly the Windows Secure Boot section here, the bootloader. This secondary one, maybe not. Chances are, even if you don't actually apply it here, when you do a Windows update, it will probably apply it at a later date anyway. So again, entirely up to you whether you use those. I would strongly suggest using them for a secure operating system, but just do be slightly aware of the downsides. If you need to roll back drivers, or if you've got older devices which don't support this new policy, you could potentially have problems, and you'll find that when you go to the installation to begin with. So once you've done that and you've made your decisions, you can click on OK, and it will say here, warning, all data on the device or USB stick will be destroyed. To continue this operation, click OK, or if you're not sure, click on cancel. Now if you're happy to go ahead and your USB's been checked, then you can click OK, and then what it's going to do, it's going to delete the partitions on your USB stick and create a bootable USB stick with the version of Windows 11 that you actually want on it, rather than being the kind of the default one from Microsoft. Now again, depending on the speed of your system, this could take a little while. Just let it do its thing, be patient, and yeah, that is essentially it. When it's done, it will give you a warning message saying it's completed. Then you can remove a USB drive and you can then use that to install the Windows 11 that you always wanted. So there you go, there is a new way of getting probably the best version of Windows 11 that you could possibly get your hands on. So it's going to be stripped out of a lot of the things that you don't actually need, things like Teams such as Outlook, OneDrive, and also the benefits of not having to sign in with a Microsoft account. I think that is extremely useful these days. A lot of people are becoming very wary of data mining and that kind of stuff that Microsoft potentially may be doing. Probably they are, but who knows for sure. So I think this is a great way of having a very new, modern, secure Windows 11, but without some of that faff that we have to put up with. So anyway, hopefully this video is going to be useful to you. If it is, smash that like button. If you've got any comments or questions, feel free to leave them in the comments section below. Alternatively, if you've got more in-depth questions which aren't as easy to answer in a YouTube post, then please do head over to our Discord. That will be linked in the video description as well, and you can discuss any issues or questions you may have regarding the goings on in this video, or in fact any of our other videos. Would be glad to have you along for the ride on our Discord. But I think that's going to pretty much wrap this one up. I've been Mike, this is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. Thanks for watching.